Good morning, everyone. What did W.C. Fields say? Never work with babies and animals, and I'm breaking at least one portion of that rule, but by having these beautiful little babies behind us, and it's great to be here. I want to thank you all, and I want to thank all the members of the City Council. As of today, all members of the City Council have signed on in support of paid family leave in the City of St. Paul. This policy that we announced today to provide new parents with some paid time off so that they can get their family off to the right start, they can get their children off to the right start, I think is a really important step forward for the City of St. Paul. Our workforce is changing dramatically. It is very different than it was historically. And one of the ways that it's changing is a real demand from our young employees that when they do start a family, when they do have a baby, whether they have a child or whether they adopt a child, that they have the ability to get that child off to the right start, have some time off so that they can be with that child in the first stages of their life together as a family. But the fact of the matter is we have not provided that benefit in the past, and we have put a lot of pressure, a lot of financial pressures on families as they start off. And the fact of the matter is that companies are changing. We're not Google, we can't be Google, but the fact of the matter is companies like Google, where the same folks that we're trying to attract to come and work for the City of St. Paul, all are offering benefits, such as the benefit that we are going to be offering starting January 1st of 2015. The reality of it is Google offers somewhere in the terms of 5 to 6 months of paid medical leave, family leave rather. We're not going to get there. We're offering a much more modest package, one that is consistent with trying to offer good benefits for our employees, but at the same time being fiscally prudent. But this is, I think, a giant leap forward. We join only a handful of cities across the country with this act, only just 3 or 4 major cities in the country that offer this benefit. I don't think that we're going to be the last of it. I think that we are on the vanguard. I think that very soon, cities across this country, every level of government, anybody that's trying to attract young talent to their organization or their level of government is going to understand that they need to provide benefits like this, just as we provide health insurance or other benefits such as vacation or sick leave. This is an effort that has joined, as I mentioned, not only by all the council members, but also by a wide array of group that have understood the importance of this and, quite frankly, have been pushing it for a very long time. They include Take Action Minnesota, the Children's Defense Fund of Minnesota, Isaiah, Jewish Community Action, Center on Women in Public Policy, Gender Justice, the St. Paul Building Trades, Laborers District Council of Minnesota, North Dakota, City Employees Local number 363, Teamsters Local 120, Fire Supervisors, International Union of Operating Engineers Local 49, Firefighters Local 21. All these different groups have come together, and I think it's an example of the community collaboration that makes us successful and brings about positive change in our city. I want to just take a moment just on a personal note. A person in my office that has driven this, that has spoken about this for several years, has been at me for a couple of years to get this policy going, and that's my Chief of Staff, Erin Dady, and I want to thank her for keeping the ball going on forward on this one, and for your support of this policy. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to one of our council members who, while is not technically eligible for this benefit, is certainly an example of the kind of folks that we want to attract to our city. A new generation of leadership, a new generation of talent, and a new father, Councilmember Daitau.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Thank
you. Thank you, Mayor Coleman, and thank you to everyone who is here with us today to support this policy. I also want to thank Council President Lantry and Councilmember Stark for being here with us today as well. You know, as a father, today is a historic and exciting one. I can only imagine what future fathers who work for the City of St. Paul, that they are filled with joy and relief. They no longer have to feel guilty because they don't have to choose between work and family during this first few precious weeks. The importance of parenting for both partners is something that needs to be reflected in the values of our city and this policy does that. Whether an employee is giving birth, their partner is giving birth, or they're choosing to adopt a child alone or as a couple, each should be given the time, the resource to be with a child, and it's equally important with their family and their partner as well. You know, when our son Justice was born, it was extremely important for me to be there with my wife, who are here with me today, during this joyous but challenging time. You know, my presence gave her confidence and strengthened our bond when she see me there holding our son to sleep, changing his diapers, and giving him bath. As a father, there is something about holding a baby in your arms that turn grown man soft as feather. It is as if you left this world and all of its trouble behind and created a new world with the baby. You automatically speak the baby's language of goo goo gaga. It is here that you are reminded how amazing and powerful your wife is. It is also here that the essence of life is captured and crystallized in our heart. Parental leave is long overdue, and I'm honored to champion this cause for our city and our state. Another instrumental person in creating this policy is Councilmember Chris Tober, who I'd like to welcome forward to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you, Mayor Coleman, for your leadership on this. Also, thank you, Councilmember Tao, for your leadership. I want to say, when Councilmember Tao and I went around to our colleagues, Council President Lantry, Councilmember Stark, and others, there was enthusiastic and unanimous support. And that says something about our city council, it says something about our leadership, and it says something about our city. I also want to thank Erin Dady for all the work that she's done on this behind the scenes. She really has done a heroic effort of figuring out the details on this and figuring out how to get this into the budget. It's the right thing to do, and we appreciate all the work she does every day, but particularly on this. This is a good policy for current employees, and it's a good policy for future employees. Whether we like it or not, the workforce is changing both in expectation and in reality. Workers today expect and are going to have multiple jobs, multiple options, and they're going to move around. It's not like the old days where people got into one career and had a path and finished that off until retirement. We have to compete so that we can keep workers, so that we can attract workers, and we can retain those workers. It's expensive to retrain workers. This policy will help retain those workers so people don't have to make that false choice between being with their child when they're young or working. This is the right thing to do, and I'm proud to be part of this leadership of not only this region but in this state, so that we have a 21st century employer here in St. Paul. So thank you all for your work, and we look forward to passing this today and next week at the City Council. Thank you. Oh, let me also introduce Head of Marketing and Public Relations for Planning and Economic Development, Sarah Swenson.
Thank you, Councilmember Tolbert. I'm a mom of 3 children, the youngest of which blessed our family with her arrival in July. Since returning to work this last week from family leave, I'm trying to get used to my new normal of juggling the responsibilities of managing a busier household alongside a full-time job. Let's just say coffee is my new best friend. In reflecting on the importance of this new parental leave policy, I found this quote that I think is very fitting with today's announcement. Children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. Being able to take sufficient time off to bond with your new child is priceless. And this policy, championed by Mayor Coleman, will provide financial support during one of life's most precious times. Families like mine, where both parents are working full-time, is now the norm as opposed to the exception. And this will continue to be the norm as new generations of employees join the City of St. Paul's workforce. On behalf of my colleagues who will be starting or expanding their families in the future, I applaud the leadership for adding this benefit. And I'll turn it back over to Mayor Coleman.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you to everyone that's here. Thank you, babies, for behaving yourselves through the entire conference so far. And with that, we'll just open it up if there's any questions.
Have you lost any employees because you weren't offering this?
You know what? we don't know. We don't have a specific number on who we might have lost, but we know that there were employees that we didn't get because when they went to look for work, they chose other places that did provide these types of benefits. And so some of it's anecdotal, but more importantly, as we look into the workforce and we survey what do millennials are looking for as they choose where to work, this is clearly one of the benefits that they're looking for. So we don't have a number on who we might have lost, but I can tell you it is harder and harder to attract great talent to your city and to your workforce, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to attract them.
Why did it take so long to get a policy like this?
I've only been mayor for 9 years. I think it's when you see what the private employers are doing and how they're moving towards this that we really have, people say run government like a business. Well, the fact of the matter, businesses are offering this type of benefit, and some of them much more comprehensive package than we're able to offer. But it's really trying to reflect what is happening in the workforce as people are choosing to go work for companies like Google.
Mayor, how did you come up with the $200,000 figure? Is that an estimate based on what? And do you expect that figure might grow as the years go by?
It's a pretty good estimate based on past patterns and who, just kind of looking at the workforce, Todd Hurley and our financial folks have really examined this and worked with HR very closely to determine kind of what the historic rates of leave are. And so we anticipate that it will grow. We don't know that it will grow particularly rapidly. I don't think it's a steep mountain. But the fact of the matter is, if it's growing, it means it's working. It means that we are attracting the kind of talent that we want to attract to our community. We're attracting new workers. And one of the things, as we talked about, there are a lot of retirements on the horizon for the city of St. Paul. And so we are going to have a younger workforce. We are going to have a real, I think, struggle to compete for talent. The kids that every company wants to have come work for them. And so we anticipate that will grow somewhat over the years, but that, I think, is a good sign. Great. Well, thank you, everyone. And let's keep on supporting our families in the city of St. Paul. Thanks.